Hi fans of high quality entertainment. So today's video is 12 bands from the 80s that back in the 80s I hated or disliked. I know hate is a very strong word, but it's catchy for a YouTube title. And negative videos seem to always get more views than positive ones for some reason. And, it's just fun. I don't take it that seriously. If you're a fan of any of these bands, that's great. Everybody likes whatever they like. And so this is just for fun for the most part. And I also wanted to mention that uh, 1 year ago tomorrow, I lost, I've lost both of my cats now, of course, but Middens on the far left passed away 1 year ago tomorrow. And then Jinx, who's on the far right at the top, she sadly passed away in December of 2022. And I just want to say that, they're always in my thoughts. And I really, really miss them. They were my babies. So may they rest in peace. All right, let's have a few laughs, hopefully. Number 12. And, I really don't know their music that well, so it's not necessarily it's not necessarily the music. It was mainly the lead singer. In videos, he would do these hand gestures when singing, and it just it just annoyed me back in the day. But that's why they're number 12 today. Like I said, I don't know their music that well, and I'm sure they were, a pretty good band. But they're number 12. A lot of this has not all of it, but some of this has to do, just with the 80s fashions. So. Number 12, The Fix. Number 11, Depeche Mode. That's right. And it's not like I don't really hate them. It's just their synth music just never resonated with me in the 80s, and it still doesn't today. I do like the song Personal Jesus. I did buy the album Violator, but I just couldn't get into their music. But if you're a fan of Depeche Mode, that's great. Nothing wrong with them really. It's just for my own personal taste. It just wasn't my thing, man. Number 10. Now, Heart. Overall, very talented. The Wilson singers, Ann and Nancy Wilson, major talent, of course. And I do love their early, like Magic Man and Barracuda, even though it was really overplayed on the radio. But, in the 80s, they went more pop, the big hair and everything. And, it was the 80s. And I just really lost interest in them when they went the route of being more commercial. But if you're a fan of Heart, that's great. So these very slowly get worse. Well, maybe not very slowly. They get worse and worse. So number 9. Who's that? Do you know who that is? I'll give you a minute to guess. That's right, Men Without Hats. What a stupid name. The video for the safety dance always annoyed me because, especially the line, "Everybody look at your hands." It's like, why do we have to look at our hands? What's that all about? But I actually kind of like the song, but it's just that line bugged me so much that I couldn't really like it. And then Pop Goes the World. That was kind of a catchy pop song. But yeah, just not one of my favorite 80s bands overall. But there's worse ones on the way. Number 8 is Quiet Riot. That's right, Quiet Riot. Come on, feel the noise. I admit it, when I first heard that, or, saw the video or maybe heard it on the radio, it's like I liked it. But that didn't last long. And it's the only song of theirs I really know. But I've seen, other videos by them and, live performances and all that. Kevin DeBro always kind of turned me off. It's sad what happened to him, of course, but it was the 80s, and I wasn't a fan of most of these bands, heavy metal with big hair bands, I guess is what you call them. They're number 8. And there are more that could have made the list, but I've just chosen these. Number 7, it's Bon Jovi. You Give Love a Bad Name. I did like that at first. It was catchy, but that's about it. And then as their career went on, they just seemed to get more corny and, you know, and just the look of the band kind of. Even back in the 80s, I thought they looked kind of ridiculous. I bet I looked ridiculous too, though. All right, that's number 7. Number 6. Yeah, Jefferson Starship. Of course, they started out as Jefferson Airplane. I love early Jefferson Airplane with Grace Slick, of course, who was in Starship here. Of course, their biggest hit was We Built This City. I forgot it for a minute for some reason. I didn't want to remember it. We Built This City. Yeah, they were just so, they were like the 80s. Like, if you think of the 80s music, Starship, We Built This City, that's the 80s for you. Number 5. It's Poison with Bret Michaels. Look at all that hair. And yeah, I used to see, we had, in America, there was MTV. In Canada, we didn't get MTV. We got Much Music, which was pretty similar to MTV, maybe a little looser though. And they would show all of the American videos. So I'd see a lot of Poison videos and live performances, and they sucked. Number 4. But number 1 in my heart for one of the worst bands, Motley Crue. I'm going to sneeze. See what Motley Crue made me do? I'm going to get sick. I will say that the guitarist, Mick Mars, I've seen live footage of them and they suck, of course, but he is a great guitarist. So nothing against Mick Mars. I like him. It's just the other 3 band members I'm not a fan of, and I never ever liked their music, except, once again, I admit it, I loved Dr. Feelgood. That was a great song. But that's it. All right. They should really be number 1. I don't know what I was thinking when I put this list together. But what's number 3? Let's find out now. It's a flock of seagulls. Now, once again, the music, I Ran, which is, their big hit, that was pretty cool. And I did like that. But that's about it. I'm sure, maybe they did have other good songs, but it was just that stupid hairstyle of the lead singers and then the rest of the band too. So I'm not saying they're a terrible band. Maybe back in the 80s the music was good, but I just couldn't get by the guy with the stupid hair. So number two is, I don't even know what it is. Yeah, Thompson Twins. Uh, yeah, wasn't really a fan of their music. Not that it's the worst music from the 80s, but it was more their looks, their videos, like I said, the big hair and everything. And they just annoyed me back in the day. They don't annoy me as much now. And number one, I don't even know what number one is. Let's see. It's Kiss. That's right, Kiss. Now, I was a fan of Kiss in the early 70s. Excuse me. I bought their debut album probably the week it came out. And I bought Hotter Than Hell, Dressed to Kill, Kiss Alive with that really cool band shot on the cover. So I was a fan for those first 4 or 5 albums. Yeah, Destroyer also. And then, as the years went by, they just seemed to get more commercial and more pop, especially in the 80s. And then looks like they're wearing makeup and everything, but uh, although I guess they wore makeup in the early 70s, didn't they? What am I talking about? But, they took off their masks and they just went totally pop or pop rock. And yeah, I was never a fan ever since, like I said, the early years. So Kiss for me is number one. I would love your thoughts in the comment section below. And what were some bands from the 80s that you just couldn't stomach? Thanks for watching. Please remember to like the video, make sure you're subscribed, and leave a comment below. Bye.